Hello and welcome. My name's Adam Adel. I'm pleased to be joining you here for this latest Westernacher webinar. I'm also very pleased to be joining you from Australia as the newest, one of the newest countries for Westernacher to open an office. So very excited to be hosting and covering off a very important topic for many clients who are operating SAP systems, and especially those moving to S4 or those who have moved to S4, and helping unpack and navigate the various options that are available for these organizations in terms of warehouse management. So what we'd like to do with this session is talk through the various options that are available, and also unpack those and to understand which one might be the most appropriate options for each organization. We'll also share some details of some case studies and experiences from other clients. So I'm joined today by an esteemed panel of presenters. First, we have Steve Chittenden, the head of solution advisory for SAP Australia, Anders Geijer, who is our practice director for warehouse management in Westernacher Nordics, and Ninoy Patel, who is our practice director for logistics execution in Southeast Asia and Australia and New Zealand. So before we get into the presentation proper, I thought it might make sense for us to hear from Steve just a little bit around why SAP is I guess why does SAP change? What needs to change in SAP, and where does the future direction go in terms of those customers who are operating warehouses? And yeah, so Steve, maybe over to you just to maybe open up with a few opening comments.
Okay, thanks, Adam. The first thing I would say is, to answer your question about change and where we're going, is we have a fantastic warehousing solution currently, which is Extended Warehouse Management, or EWM. Now, many of our customers, of course, out there have been on our ECC platform for many, many years and have been, relatively happy, I guess, with the WM solution. But what we're here to talk about today is, how do we re-platform and get them onto the new platform? And when we say change, it is change for the better. Ultimately, the Extended Warehouse Management platform is a far superior platform to the old warehouse management platform under ECC. It's where our development has been in terms of development use cases and adding functionality for the last 20-odd years. So there's been a lot of work going into EWM to make it that best of breed product that is actually part of the core solution as well, which of course just adds to its usability. Now, one of the things I'd like to say, obviously people watching this webinar today are interested in making that move across from ECC WM to EWM. And the thing to say here, of course, is that you are not alone. Many, many thousands of customers have already made that move and made it successfully across to the EWM solution and are now reaping the benefits of using it. One of the things to say about EWM is that it is a far richer and better fit in many cases to organizations in terms of functionality and the capabilities it has. WM, we've always had the handcuffs on a little bit in terms of it's very basic and clunky, and when we need to change things, it's a matter of writing code and getting developers in to make changes to RF screens, make changes to pick requests and pick sequences and things like that. What EWM brings to the table is all of those things, but essentially via configuration and just the master data within the actual system itself. So it's putting the system really in the hands of the operators and the guys and girls who need to use it well, as opposed to the IT department and having to put in huge change requests and things like that. In essence, basic functions that were not available in WM and had to be configured. Basic things like an RF scan from bin to bin, for instance. We're talking that basic in WM have to be configured and built. EWM outstrips that to an nth degree. But it's not just about the basics. The E in EWM stands for Extended Warehouse Management, and that's exactly what it is. It extends the solution to include many, many extra features that you may just not know about. And one of the challenges we see with companies going to a new extended warehouse management solution set is awareness. And that's really what today is about. bringing that awareness of what the solution platform brings to you and how you can take advantage of that to actually move forward as an organization, as opposed to, oh dear, it's something we've got to do because it's the latest release. I prefer people to be looking at this in terms of an actual opportunity. It's a real opportunity to bring the extended warehouse management functions and features into the actually drive your logistics organization. And if you obviously manufacturing and everything else as an organization, as opposed to, oh, yeah, we've got a challenge. The other thing to say is, if you are running warehouse management, that is a huge advantage. We have tool sets and methodologies that have, as I said, been a very well-trodden path here, to bring those tool sets, such as, taking all the structures and all your data that you currently use and bringing that directly into EWM, where you can start to take advantage of the advanced features of EWM to actually, get a better benefit out of it. As well as those tools that we have to migrate you easily and quickly, which some of the guys will talk to you more about in a second. These tools also make it a low-risk proposition. So obviously in the past, going live with a warehouse solution or WMS of any type is always a little bit of a tricky situation to go through, and it takes a lot of work. But moving from WM to EWM, as I said, it's a well-trodden path. We have many tools and accelerators to actually easily, so that you can migrate smoothly and have very simple go lives with your business suites. So I just wanted to introduce it like that. So basically, don't see this as something to be scared of. Really see it as an opportunity to get a best of breed warehouse management solution, which you can use well into the future to cover your logistics warehousing needs.
Excellent, Steve. Thanks for that introduction. I think one of the most important things is that there is an EWM basic functionality that every S4HANA customer has. It comes in the box. It is part of the code line of S4HANA. And what we want to encourage clients to do is to actually use that new and more advanced functionality and that exists in the EWM basic. And in some cases, you may want to extend that, and then there's an advanced version or flavor, which Anders will help us unpack a little. But I think it's a really important factor, right, in terms of utilizing things that you actually get in the box with S4HANA, right?
I can say I absolutely hate that term basic, because what you get in the box without additional license fees is really good, right? At the end of the day, you get a lot of functionality, which certainly way outstrips what you could ever do within WM. You get all the KPI reporting, you get the warehouse monitor and all those types of things, plus the RF and everything else in there, and you get more advanced picking, put away, better sequencing, everything. I mean, to call it basic is one of the biggest tragedies that we've ever done at SAP, and actually calling the included functionality basic, because it is far from basic. It's actually very good. I would much rather they called it included functionality rather than basic, but that's the way, the wording, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess what we'll do next is hand over to Anders, who is controlling the majority of the presentation today. Let's unpack this a little bit more, Anders, because I know we've used some terminology there. We've used EWM, WM, basic, advanced. There's also the embedded versus the decentralized, stockroom management. There are a lot of there's a lot of terminology here in terms of options that clients can take advantage of in SAP. Perhaps Anders, can you help us understand that and
yes.
Get us.
I will start the presentation. I will just first present myself. As you said, Anders Geijer. I think you're pronouncing my name quite okay. I actually been in Australia. I lived there in '95 in Adelaide. So I'm looking forward also to speak to you here in Australia. I'm currently practice director for warehousing practices and Westernacher in the Nordics. Currently, we have 9 larger customers that we are running our programs on warehousing. And as Steven said, EWM is up there on the notch, and I would now tell you one project we're doing with an international company. We're basically doing this move to EWM and explain how you do it in the best way. But before that, I will go through different capabilities of EWM. My experience with this is that I was starting my career in SAP or in Electrolux, where I was basically responsible for WM. So I've been doing exactly what you have been doing on WM. WM was a tool that was given to us by SAP that really started to work to make sure we have an integrated supply chain with warehousing. Some of the functionalities was a little bit basic. I think basic is the word for WM, where we then had to do a lot of developments. And during this journey then with WM, SAP has continuously developed EWM. And I think that's what we're going to see today, that the EWM is really up there where it belongs. After Electrolux, I also worked at H&M, the big retailer. I was globally responsible for the warehousing solution. So basically doing everything on EWM. And we can really see how EWM outcompete the 3PLs with their warehousing. So the warehouses on EWM was really running in a smooth way. So that's me, just to understand who I am and why I'm talking about this topic. And now I will deep dive into the presentation. And I just want to present Ninoy as well, that is with us here today. In-depth, strong knowledge about EWM, so it can also help you later with more advanced questions. But let's dive. So first of all, there's quite an intense agenda here. Let's see that we make it through. So I will try to control myself when it comes to timing. Why are we talking about this topic, the subject? We're going to talk a bit about the options, as we said before. Just briefly discuss the detailed supply chain on S/4HANA. I'm currently at Sapphire in Madrid, and I mean a lot of fuss, a lot of discussion right now is on how do we make sure we have a strong integrated business suite on SAP to basically take the next step into the new future-proven area with AI, with all these different connected features that will come with SAP. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. In this deep dive on EWM, I'm also going to run some demos. I think seeing is believing. So not only PowerPoints, also showing you a bit about what capabilities EWM has. We're going to talk about the business benefits that we see from multiple customers that we're working with. I mean, Westernacher has been running with 300 different EWM projects. So we have an extensive knowledge about the benefits customers see when they move from WM to EWM. And we're going to talk a bit about how you accelerate your implementation. As Steve mentioned there, I mean, you should not see it as before, how we normally implemented SAP WM. There's some ways to do this now that I'm going to explore more on. And then we have the case study. So we have a case study with this global customer, Grundfos, and I'm going to talk you through that. But let's dive into it. Why are we talking about this topic? A little bit as we said, I mean, SAP WM has been there for a long time, a lot of happy customers, mainly due to that SAP allowed us to do developments, some user exits, and it brought our organization into business development mode, where you worked a lot with from the warehousing with your purchaser, with your quality departments to really build an application that suited you very well. And of course, the same on the other side, together with sales and your service provider, you make sure you were connected. But of course, depending on customers, we see quite differently when we work now with customers, understanding how many rise what they have done in WM. It's a little bit back, some is doing a lot and some are doing less, but we can see that we have the situation now that we have a system that we have done a lot of enhancement on. Many customers are very happy, but it lacks robustness. If you want to change things, it's not configuration. You need to understand and develop and go into it in depth. And of course, that's a big risk because we are still here, but there's a new generation coming. And of course, there's the risk and the concerns about how are we able to support this going forward. Also, of course, can we really state that what we have now that we are very happy with is really future proven? I mean, there is a lack of abilities on the current WM to grow. And we can see, I mean, the market pressure to support new technologies, increasing day by day. And it doesn't easily support complex warehouse operations. So if there's a change and stuff like that, more complexity is not really suitable for that. But also, as Steve said, I mean, it's not something we want you to push you to do, but it's really, I think, a time now to look at yourself and see, do we have a future-proven solution? I mean, and also, as we know, WM will not be supported, and we have potentials issues then with different features being decommissioned. I will just do that. And of course, it's a big drive now to move to the cloud, where I mean, where we all think that we need to belong in the coming years. So, what are your options? I guess you talked about this together with SAP before, but just to bring them back, I mean, the compatible packs is important then to secure if you now lift and shift to S/4HANA, that you can keep your WM. Exactly the year, I guess, is questionable, but this is something that you can do to keep what you currently have them and safeguard it until you start to plan your move. There is also an option then of stockroom management that enables the customer also to lift and shift into this solution. And of course, it doesn't support very complex warehouse solutions, and it will not be something that we will further develop from SAP. So if you feel that you are, we have reached the end game, we are happy that this is of course a way you can to do it on SAP. But we are of course here to talk about EWM, and that's we said it's available on embedded and decentralized. That's a very important topic for you to discuss together with your partner in SAP, how you want to go on that. But what we can see then with EWM is it's a really best of breed now with strong and rich functionality. And as we see, we're working a lot now also with SAP to look into the roadmap and together drive what is needed out on the market. And we can see that there's a big push there as well. We have some customers now we're working with, and we can see in just the latest releases, everything that made some topics that we did discuss is now available in the system. So also when you go into EWM, you will have a roadmap of very good functionalities coming your way. One thing that Steve mentioned, and basic, I totally agree. Basic was probably a bad wording that from SAP to say. Rather would be integrated, and then you have the more advanced functionalities. Of course, it's also something you did look at on when you make your decision. And here you can see, just to shed some light, what is then basic and advanced. And as you can see in the basic, you guys basically get a strong functionality. But with advanced, you get more support on wave management, on yards, connecting your warehouse. With afterwards, you have more complex organization planning and so forth. So this is something that is important to look at and take a decision on. And coming back to digital supply chain on S4, I mean, as we can see, we are getting much more connected. When you work in the warehouse, you try to protect it a bit from the outer world, making sure you have efficient processes. But we also can see now how everything is interlinked, and we need to work as a one team on a future-proven solution with AI and analytics across the platform, basically. So it's always good when you look into the future and ask yourself your questions. What do you want to drive in your company, and how well does the digital supply chain S4 support that? And from a warehouse perspective, we can see, I mean, really getting connected towards your transportation planning department, towards the yard, and so forth. And also with EWM, you have much more feature than to connect to powerful automation to robots and drones using different frameworks, and then are available now and has been used for quite some time on the EWM platform. And we can also see that there is, of course, a growing integrated need when it, for example, comes to the customer journey, personalization in retail, also in discrete manufacturing, to have tools then to make sure you are connected between your supply chain, your sales, and your. So if you look at EWM now, I mean, we can really see it's up where it belongs. I mean, it is up there on the together with other big warehouse solution. I would, in my opinion, it's the best, but Gartner hasn't really put it up there yet. And of course, it's a #1 choice when you are on the SAP platform. it really gets yourself integrated. And what Gartner is really focused on, and as you can see, is also SAP has a very compelling platform for a strategy addressing the supply chain execution and making sure we are connected. So I think that's a key for all the SAP customer out there to really embrace this and understand that, you know, this is the future, and this is also where we can see now with the customer base of 7,000 customers on this platform. Of course, that drives a lot of developments and a lot of good future roadmap on this application. We can see, compared to other warehouse system, that it fits for all the different warehouse type. Important when you run a production warehouse that you really have strong integration, how you stage things to production, how you manage integration with quality and so forth. In the distribution center, you know, if you have a complex process and high volume, you need to be on top of efficiency and tact, making sure you have a good flow efficiency. And I think that's something that, compared to WM, EWM is this full throttle warehouse solution that gives you this benefit of really building strong, connected, flow efficient processes in your distribution center. And also, of course, a more tricky service part warehouse where you have you know, very complex assortment, very, you know, different customers, different requirements on service levels. We can also see that we're working with a lot of customers there on this part, and there also EWM has this, you know, latest functionality capabilities to really meet the demand of a service part warehouse. And also going more into the industries. I mean, here, you know, EWM is basically managing all these industries, and that's quite fantastic how we can have a tool that supports this in a good way, and you can feel, regardless which industry you're coming from, that you have a good roadmap also for the future to stay well connected to also, you know, changes in the production MES landscape. We're working a lot with customer now in discrete manufacturing, but also in pharma, where we see this MES integration and how we stage with MES and how we connect with that. I mean, in the automotive, how we do just in time, how we do just in sequence. I mean, we can see that the functionality that exists and I can really drive towards what the business and the industry really need to make sure they're up there on the top performance. And as you can see, consumer goods, strong in batch management, shelf life, catch weight, all these different ingredients that you need and in different industries are there and available for you. And here, of course, we're very excited to start to talk to you and showcase this, run demos with you, so you can really see in the system how these different capabilities that probably you have built for in WM now is available then as standard functionalities and capabilities. So, coming back to this, I think I have many different slides trying to explain this EWM, the beauty of EWM. But there were too many, so I tried to consolidate them in one. What we can really see with EWM compared to WM is that you have a well-connected warehouse that can be driven, can be set up based on your layout, based on different process steps, and it's basically it gets connected. I remember when I was building with WM, I really had a struggle to find this, you know, end-to-end process, easy to configure, easy to drive. So every time you had different steps, you had to do some developments, you have to change something if you, but that's not the thing with EWM. With EWM, you basically have, with EWM, you have a system you can configure in a good way. So, and also all the functionality you have there from inbound. So what you do in WM, I mean, now you have functionality to really manage the transportation units, your dock scheduling, your yard management. You have the different steps in the inbound to do a good put away, to manage your inbound dock in a good way, do the consolidation, quality inspection, packing, all of these nice things you have as standard features, and much more options than in how you do put aways to the storage, but also maybe if you want to push it directly for a cross-docking, or if you want to push it directly to production because you're out of critical material. So that's a very important thing that, you know, inbound is now, it's a strong area where EWM has really stepped up, as you will see. And the same comes then to source operation, that how you do slotting, how you do rearrangement is much more simple now to integrate and make sure it's part of the everyday pickers or supervisors' task to secure the most efficient warehouse, how you put stock, but also how you pick and what you do during picking to secure that you have a stable situation. And also when it comes to outbound, you have much more options now in the outbound to really configure it based on your business process, how you want to stage, how you want to load, how you want to control your dock, and how then you drive more efficient picks with waves and better improved RF options there. And more connected them to the other side, not only the warehouse, but the yard with transportation, how you really connect TM and yard logistics into your warehouse has been further improved a lot. So what I'm going to show you now, I have a couple of demos I want to show, so you also get a little bit look and feel of what EWM can bring to the table. First, I mean, the RF framework is there. I'm going to show you then how we have an accelerator that we call vScan that basically makes it very intuitive and also very easy for you to customize the screens, making sure it's really user friendly, still having everything safeguarded on the core of EWM. So I'm going to show you a couple of movies now.
And that's why you're just getting that ready. There was a question in the chat saying, is EWM available for Grow customers? And so, in other words, is it part of the public cloud? And the answer to the question is yes, absolutely. EWM is our warehousing solution across all our ERPs. So, yeah, to answer the question, absolutely yes. And the functionality, again, is included as part of that Grow or public cloud offering.
Having been on the market for about 5 years, WeScan UI5 has been continuously improved. More than 20 customers at over 40 locations trust our solution to run their RF operations on all of their mobile devices. With Westernacher's WeScan UI5 features, you can stand out and bring more efficiency to the daily work in your warehouse, intuitively and quickly. Our mobile applications are available for Apple and Android-based devices. The iOS application is written in the native Swift UI and is in the Apple App Store. Android devices can get a custom APK with your very own branding. With WeScan UI5, you can create multiple styles for different user groups. New sound effects will guide users through operations, and they will receive real-time alerting upon successfully executing an operation or if there is an error. In its newest version, the application integrates the MS Teams API that allows your users to call a predefined contact with just a click of a button. Thinking of training newcomers? This can be easily done with our WeScan UI5 multi-step tutorials. All of these innovative features are endorsed by our customers from across multiple industries such as automotive, chemicals and logistics within 41 warehouses across the globe. Profit from WeScan UI5. Enjoy more advanced solutions for warehouse operations with the Westernacher Smart Glasses application. Benefit from the confirmation of warehouse tasks, KPIs, scanning of barcodes and voice recognition. Work with the Westernacher RF offline application in day-to-day warehouse operations without needing to be constantly connected to a network. Let Westernacher optimize your warehouse easily.
Yes, so why are we showing this? I think it's basically to explain to you that working now with SAP, there's a lot of accelerators to really make sure you have a user-friendly start. A lot of things that you normally do and develop for a long time, you basically now can get out of the box that really benefits you then in your implementation project. And also, as you can see, the user experience now on SAP WM is much better than what you have on I'm also going to show you another one. When it comes to a solution, I want to show you that we call WePick.
In the fast-paced world of logistics where every second counts, efficiency and speed are daily challenges. Westernacher's WePick is designed to transform warehouse operations with cutting-edge technology. By combining the lightweight ergonomic design of the Zebra WS50 with the WePick app, Westernacher simplifies the transition from standard handheld terminals to the wearable solution, WeScan Suite for SAP EWM. Get rid of bulky hand terminals. Focus on the task at hand without compromising comfort or performance. Empower your operators to process orders more quickly and accurately than ever before. The app's intuitive, modern design provides a user experience that's easy to learn and simple to use. With WePick, you can achieve greater accuracy and agility, significantly enhancing your warehouse efficiency. Equip your team with real-time KPI tracking to continuously measure and improve their performance, driving productivity to new heights. Innovate your warehouse. Westernacher makes it easy.
Good. So that was some just to show that there is accelerators and things that you probably developed a long time is now then available for you to plug and play in your implementation projects. Now we'll go back to the presentation. What also I think when it comes to EWM compared to WM, and also of course moving into S4 on EWM as specific, I mean we have the embedded analytics that is used if you're more focusing only on warehousing. A lot of customers and also of course using IT clouds. Now we also have the business cloud coming up. But basically, when you want to integrate not only warehousing, but you want to have a full picture of not only your warehouse operation, but also the customer, the purchase order, and so forth, should you really get connected. Also here, I will showcase a bit about an accelerator that can be used to really improve. Normally, in the projects you run with SAP, it takes some time. You start to drive the process efficiency, build your process to this end state, and you kind of delay maybe the development of good reporting. And with SAP S4 now, I mean, you are basically having real-time data in your BI reports. So I'm going to show just so you get a look and feel a bit of how it can look like then, having this kind of strong reporting functionality analytics on EWM. So I'm going to show you a demo on that one as well.
I would like to introduce you to EWM Insights, an interactive dashboard developed within SAP Analytics Cloud. EWM Insights helps to monitor and manage your warehouse operations. It's the perfect supplement for EWM, as it provides you with an overview of the health of your warehouse. So what are the key benefits of our product? EWM Insights is a collaborative early warning system that indicates if there is something wrong within your warehouse. It processes EWM data and provides you with key performance indicators of your operation. The solution enables you to identify issues early on, which gives you the chance to take and implement decisions much faster. If you can reduce the time from issues building up to taking action, you can protect your revenue and prevent additional costs. In a nutshell, it creates value. Let us start with our demo. On the initial screen of the dashboard, you can find an overview of some of the key metrics for managing your warehouse. The figures show the current status based on data retrieved in the last 24 hours and throughout the accounting year. Roles can be attributed in Analytics Cloud so that each user of EWM Insights can see the screen relevant for their daily work. This can be the overview for the warehouse manager or detailed information on one specific warehouse area for the respective shift leader. Besides the overview, the dashboard is categorised into the tabs Inbound, Outbound, Stock Situation and Efficiency, with more detailed information on each subject. Under Inbound, you can find the key inbound metrics that can be filtered by type: external, production and return. Besides current figures, EWM Insights also shows timelines, so that you can filter everything according to how you want it. Analytics Cloud is also able to extrapolate the data and generate a generic forecast. For a closer look, for example at processing time, you can click on the SAN timer. Here you can filter on all KPIs that you have seen on the previous page and gain insights into their development over time. You can select the desired KPI, for example deliveries, inspection status or process cases on the left. In contrast to the upper half of the screen where KPIs are displayed in absolute, the lower half of the screen displays KPIs in percentage values. The clear structure of the Inbound tab also applies to the Outbound tab, where KPIs such as vehicle turnaround time, pick error rate and wave status can be analysed in more detail. Under the Efficiency tab, cases received, picked and replenished are displayed on an adjustable timeline. You can filter the data by shift and storage type to gain more insight into what's going well and where your operations need improvement. To demonstrate a real-life scenario on the practical use of EWM Insights, let us go back to the initial screen of the dashboard, the overview. The traffic light colouring that you can see for the 4 KPIs in the centre of the screen indicates the key metrics status: OK, warning and critical. You can immediately see that processed inbound cases and warehouse capacity are in the yellow range and not in the green. To find out why, you can simply click on the KPI and you're directed to a more detailed view. This top-to-bottom approach that provides you with an ever more detailed information applies to the entire dashboard. In the case of warehouse capacity, we are directed to the stock situation. To find out where exactly the capacity is low, you can filter the data by storage type, here on the right. But that might not even be necessary. The comment function of Analytics Cloud enables each user of EWM Insights to leave comments on any KPI, here. A colleague noted that there are not enough empty bins in picking area 1, and indeed if we filter to the box picking area, we see that the warehouse capacity has reached a critical level. Yet our colleague also noted that the return process had already been started to free up space. This is just one of the many functions of EWM Insights that could strengthen the performance of your warehouse operations.
So I think that's also a good thing to see for all of the customer out there, that there is accelerators also in this analytics to really drive further improvement and also be fast in implementation. So if we look at the business benefits then, first we have it more a little bit in words, but we can also later see the KPIs that we see at the customers. So as mentioned before, I mean the areas of inbound and storage operation, we get a much better view of the full end-to-end process. We can better optimize the use of manpower. We can facilitate cross-stocking in a simple way, and how we place things, how we make sure we don't put something incorrectly and understand the need of a product when you do the put away is something where EWM comes up with much better capabilities. Also on the storage then, that we have much better tracking and trace on the batch, on the serial number out of the standard, and how we manage inventory balances then on a daily ongoing level. Of course, always improve the stock situation. And also, as explained before, outbound processing, we can see a much more increased inventory accuracy and availability because we have better control, not only in the storage, but in different staging areas or in different work centers or where our handling units are throughout the process. We can see a tremendous improvement there. And these figures tells its own story, basically. Some of them are quite high, but that's the case, basically, especially when it comes to increase of inventory accuracy, yard visibility. We have a customer now in Sapphire here in Madrid, where basically are showing the customer case where they improve picking efficiency with 25% just implementing EWM due to how they streamline the resources and also cut the delivery time by 10%. So you can really see that this is figures we get from our customers of the projects. There is a high business benefit on doing this move and doing it thoroughly, really looking at flow efficiency when you implement EWM. So Accelerator implementation, I think Steve mentioned that. I mean, we are used to, or in the SAP world, we are used to these projects where we did a lot of development. Was a long time to value, high cost, and we faced issues during the implementation. As you will see now, I mean, the mindset of SAP and also all the implementation partners is really to do this in a fit to standard approach. And of course, with the latest capabilities of EWM, this is what we recommend. This is what we really drive the customers to do. Fit to standard, really learn EWM before implementing. So the whole model is shifting, as you will see. We have our enhanced, best practices on how we do this and how we also have the accelerators to support this. And to show it a little bit more in detail, there is now well-documented industry best practices. I mean, I've always been skeptic about this, coming from the business, working with quite complex warehousing. But a lot of things you can really take, and this is the standard. Of course, each warehouse has its different layouts, different topics that needs to be considered. But then you have a really good foundation to start, and you can focus on where you have a different layout or a different process that is needed. And we make sure we have a right discussion around that and drive that towards the standards. Also, when you're working with strong implementation partner, they can directly, show you in Sandbox how this can be executed. So you, instead of talking about business requirement, you're working directly with business and with IT, showcasing the solution and drive the discussion there. And this, of course, decreases the need for development. People get secure about the solution. They're looking at the solution, not at their requirement, and they can see how it fits in. And of course, now also with SAP EWM looking at MFS integration. Should you use your VCS? Should you go into an MFS integration? How can we really demo also that, as you see in the bottom picture there, to look at how you do your mini loads, for example, in this example, we can simulate and showcase how your operation could look like then on EWM. And I think really important that when you start to look at this and think, well, how can I go about? Because of course there is a daily life, and you need to start to think about implementing EWM. Then we always suggest that you have a strong partner with you, and you run an innovation day with your business, and really look at the SAP roadmap, understanding the best practice with demos, and discuss the future warehousing on SAP EWM, and explain also the challenges the industries are facing and how we are working to manage those challenges. And also, get connected with other customers that has experienced this. You get first-hand information. And then really do a business case so you have a good foundation on how you can do it. Look at the risk, look at, is this a big change? Are you going to change your footprint as you go about? Do you want to look at flow efficiency, or are you implementing what you have? And look at how that fits into your S4 journey and timeline and priorities. So this is something we really strongly recommend you to do to get a good business case for your implementation. And as stated, we have a lot of accelerators. Normally the strong partners have this. I think you should really look at a partner that knows the solution, can accelerate with you, and also understand the warehousing and change management that is required in the warehouse projects. I will not go through them now. I see that our time is starting to be a bit low on this one, but please reach out to Adam and Ninoy and myself, and we can showcase some of this. When it comes to cartonization, for example, we have really good algorithms to really drive the right way of getting your right handling unit when you start doing your picking and packing, if that's a requirement for your business. We have strong frameworks, both when it comes to MFS, but also integrate to VCS and different robotics. So I think one thing that I think is quite nice to just to showcase, because I know that I mean, all of you are probably working on WM. In EWM, you have this fantastic tool. This is like a one-stop shop for all your warehouse supervisors and managers. In this tool, you have a full understanding of your warehouse directly. You can look at it, you can execute in this transaction. So if you looked at what we showed you before, the RF screens, you know, that where your operators will run and do all the, you know, needed work. This is kind of the core for your warehouse supervisor. And if you compare it to VLO6i or 6.0 in WM, here you have the full thing basically. You can look at your outbound, your inbound, your physical inventory. You have your resource management, so all your queues, how you're driving, your picking. You can you know, maintain master data. You can get alerts. You have your labor management, and you have your MFS integration done very well explained. And if you just take an example, we just quickly go into outbound delivery, and just hopefully I have a sale one there. Yeah, super. Not screwing up on that one. And now this is in my way. So as you can see, you know, remember the document flow in WM. I mean, if you just click here and you can see the warehouse task for this specific one order, you can see how easy it is to navigate, and everything here is clickable, so you can go into it and look at the next steps. In this case, for example, we are picking something. You can see the source handling unit pallet that we picked it from, the bin we picked it from, the product. If it was then a pick HU that you move it towards, you can see that HU, and you can see how it moves all the way to the outbound. So this is a two-step basically into a pick cart and then out to the outbound. And if you want, you can go in and just look at the different handling units here and see how it looks basically. And if you go into this handling unit instead, you can basically follow here and see the handling unit and material and so forth. So everything is very intuitive. And also in this, then you can look at different processes. You also have strong reporting here to see the status of things. And if you just go into, I think this is one that I really like. If I compare to WM, I'll showcase a bit how it looks. So here you have a handling unit, you have a different pallet handling unit, and you have a different material. So all of this is very, you know, standard and very basically giving you all the needed information on the right level in your handling units, the batch. If you have serial numbers towards the material, everything is very intuitive now in SAP EWM. Good. And as I said, if you want us to run demos, I'm in contact, and we are more than willing to help you in doing so. Now I can see we're running out of time, so I'm stressing a bit, as you notice. We have 4 minutes to go, so I will hand over for questions.
Thank you, Anders, for taking us through that. Now let me just, we do have a few questions on the chat. Now I think we're, just to make sure that everyone can see and hear the answers, we might just recap on those. So there was a question, is EWM available in SAP Grow Public Cloud? And I think Steve's already answered that to say that yes, indeed, it is. Is there anything else, Steve, that you would say there, just to recap on that topic?
There's a couple of questions around.
I'll go through the questions.
Public cloud. But there was also a question around shipments and shipments is a term that gets replaced.
If it's all right, I'll read the question. It says, what is the best alternative for using shipments within standard SAP? I'm seeing businesses using two-step methods, such as transferring materials into blocked. Any feedback there or thoughts?
Well, the first thing to say is shipments aren't an object really in S4. We replace that with freight orders in transportation management. And one of the, I guess, the many features and functions that are available in ECC that are a bit old-fashioned and a bit clunky is the movement of blocked stock. So when we're moving blocked stock, you have to block it and unblock it to allow it to go in transit, things like that. S4 doesn't have that issue anymore. That's gone. So if the business is doing a two-step process, they won't need to do it in S4. So I guess for first part of the question is, we would replace the term shipment with freight order. It's essentially the same thing, but it's more advanced and has better functionality. And the block stock issue that the guys are doing two-step processes to block and unblock stock goes away with S4. It's no longer a constraint or a problem, I guess.
Yep. Okay. Excellent.
EWM does have a very strong integration with TM, especially the new offering is the advanced shipping and receiving. So if that is a requirement where you have shipments in your current system, that's obviously an option to be looked at.
Okay, thank you, Ninoy. The next question we had was, how easy is it to migrate from SAP ECC WM to SAP GROW EWM?
Can we take that one on?
Yeah, Steve, if you'd like to take that one. I think you've answered on the group, the organisers chat or the panelists chat, but so I know you know the answer.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the question is
anyway, but
very easy. Obviously, the public cloud offering is simplified in terms of it's a more simplified solution set. And the thing to say really is, if you have your warehouse set up in WM already, I mentioned earlier, you've got your data set up, so you know your bin structures, you know your data, you know your doors and things like that. Really, it's a very simple process to put that data into the public cloud version of EWM, and then literally start using it very, very quickly. It's a very simplified version. It comes fully packaged up with everything you need. So the answer would be it's relatively straightforward.
Yep, excellent. I can't see any more questions on the chat. So we might wrap up. Of course, everyone is welcome to contact us and contact me in particular if you're in Australia and New Zealand, or in fact across for our listeners across Southeast Asia as well. Definitely contact your local Westernacher office or SAP teams. I think hopefully today we've been able to share some details around the options and what life could look like in terms of warehouse operations under the newest generation of SAP capabilities. And the way we approach this, right, is to work with clients around maximizing the value that they're going to be able to get with the standard SAP software, and then where it's required, move into the more advanced capabilities. So yeah, I will wrap up there. And obviously, as Westernacher, we are very, very keen to help and support our clients across the world, and we welcome you for your time and attention today. There's one last late-breaking question asking to share the PowerPoint deck today. What I will say is that yes, we should be able to share some information with the attendees who have registered. I can't see actually who is requesting that information, but what we'll do is we'll share information with you. But once again, thank you so much for joining us, and you'll get an email from our team just as a follow-up and feedback. And very excited to be working with so many great customers and so many great organisations across the world, and especially now for Westernacher working within Southeast Asia, Australia and New Zealand as well. So we'll wrap up the call at this particular point. Thank you all for your time.
Yep. Thank you. Take care. Bye.